passionate about Cleveland sports.
He's going in, touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
Swinging it line! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jarid Watson.
Hello and welcome. It's Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jarid Watson.
Cleveland Browns.
Wow, what an incredible Monday so far. We kind of knew it was coming. We knew the inevitable was going to happen. We weren't sure when, and it kind of creeped up on us late this morning. The Browns have fired head coach Hue Jackson, as well as their offensive coordinator, Todd Haley. And it all comes back to the fact that we knew that this was a possibility if they were to get thrashed in Pittsburgh, and they absolutely got thrashed by Pittsburgh. After that first drive, the team just... Well, they talk about not quitting on each other, and it looked by the end of that game, there was a lot of quit, especially, surprisingly to me, on the defensive side of the ball during where it looked like Pittsburgh was just going to run the ball down their throats, and they did, and that's how that went. Garbage time touchdown at the end of the game. Andy, you want to roll through a timeline here of kind of this whole situation. I didn't expect both coaches to go, but I think Dustin Fox said it best today so far for me, is that only the Browns could take a loss and turn it into a victory Monday. Somehow they did.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I kind of felt going in, if they were to lose this game, I kind of felt something like this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because you could kind of feel it during the Buccaneers game, and it was kind of solidified on Sunday. I didn't really need to see Sunday to solidify it, but it's pretty obvious that Hue Jackson and Todd Haley were not on the same page. And to be fair to either party, you can get into probably who was more at fault. I probably side more with Hughes' fault. But again, at the same time, it takes two to tango, and I don't think Todd Haley ever made really the right effort to get along with Hue Jackson, in my opinion, from what I saw from Hard Knocks. We all saw that. If you don't, if we didn't have that show, it's hard to make comments like that. But we saw the show. We saw what was going on, and it was pretty apparent even from day one that Todd and Hugh were just not on the same page. So today around noon today, you started hearing reports that Hugh was going to get fired. Really made it through the ringer around 12:05. Hugh's gone, not officially reported yet. And then an hour later, it comes out that Haley is also going to be gone as offensive coordinator. And then at 2:30 today, it did officially come out that Hugh is gone. It has not been officially announced, but it's been pretty much, everybody's on the same page that everybody's hearing now that Greg Williams will be the new head coach. And to repeat, Jackson out around noon. It came out officially at 2:30. Todd Haley around an hour later was fired as offensive coordinator, and then it became official right around 2:30 that he was out. And around that same time, when rumors that everybody's now picking up on, Greg Williams will be the new coach, and then Freddie Kitchens will be the new offensive coordinator. That's where we are. I'm not as shocked as some people are. I thought this would happen after the Browns, if they were to lose against the Steelers, and they did. You could kind of feel it during the Bucs game. I thought the tone was set when they traded away Carlos Hyde. It's nothing to do with Carlos Hyde. It's about what direction the team was going in at that point. I thought you saw very poor play. Last two games, so I don't think the Buccaneers are a good team.
No, not at all, because Cincinnati walked in there and did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
For the most part.
Well, they didn't pull Winston. I mean,
that's
exactly.
a
Fitzpatrick. That's a Fitzpatrick special. Fitzpatrick's great coming off the bench.
And that's exactly.
So don't wade too much into that. But okay, neither here nor there. Yesterday, and my son was commenting on it, and I felt the same way. That reminded me of the Browns from 16-17, from start to finish.
Whew.
I mean, that was a 16-17 debacle. There's nothing we're going to get through some of that.
Right. I've got some thoughts on the offense and on the defense.
Right, but to get to the now, and then let's get to the game next. Right move. Had to get rid of Hue Jackson.
100%.
The toxic fumes were everywhere on that team. I do not agree with waiting until the bye or waiting until the end of the season. There are times when that's appropriate. This was not the time or case. He had to go. It was really starting to go. It was starting to spread throughout the team. You could see it. And truthfully, Todd Haley probably deserved another chance, but it's actually understandable why he got fired as well.
Well,
because it's 2 to tango in this case, and I thought both did not do their job.
So let me look into that a little bit deeper. I'm gonna psychoanalyze this just slightly. So the Haslams released their statement that basically praises Hue Jackson for being a dedicated, head coach for the past 2.5 years, and barely mentions Todd Haley. And we all know that Hue was there because the Haslams liked him. And we know that wasn't a John Dorsey decision. John Dorsey walked into this, and the Haslam family has always liked Hue. But so this is where the worry comes in. Do the Haslams take back over again, jumping rank and bringing in the next head coach? I will say that I'm seeing signs that that's a no. And the reason I say that is Carlos Hyde's trade was, to me, had to be 100% John Dorsey, correct?
Oh, it had to be.
So if they're allowing Dorsey to make that move, I'm hoping that they're going to stay the hell out of this head coaching. They cannot micromanage this decision. They can't do it. It needs to be John's decision.
I don't think they will. I think, going back for a second, the Todd Haley thing is surprising to me from where we were 2 weeks ago to today. But I understand it because I thought he had some faults. And I thought that he really did not do – I just think Hue and Todd created their own – they just created their own burning of the village here.
Absolutely.
I just don't think either one should be thoroughly blamed, but I don't think either one should be, also unscathed. I just thought watching that game, it was so evident how far apart those two were. And again, Hue dug his own grave 2 years ago. Or last year, I'm sorry. You and I both agree she never came back. So that's Hue aside. Finally it happened. Finally this mess is going to start getting cleaned up. It's a bizarre situation because you really have lost a year and everything now changes again going into next year, but you can't turn back the clock, so that is what it is. I think Greg Williams is an interesting interim coach, but I think that
the one good thing that I had texted you and that I was thinking about as well is the discipline side of things, which we know that Hue was a lot more lax on that side of the discipline side of the ball. And I believe that there was an incident that Greg, there had something to do during Hard Knocks. Like we said, we've seen it where it was about whether you wear uniforms or not or whatever the hell it was. And Greg Williams took his side, didn't like the coach was trying to let them get off. And Kitchens was backing that discipline side as well. So at the very least, I'm hoping that these two at least are positive influences on the young guys for the rest of the season, because it is going to be a struggle. I'm just hoping that this reignites the fire, because even those young players, Myles Garrett did make some comments today, or was it yesterday, in regard to Greg Williams, we think, scheme-wise. But overall, you can't ignore the fact that at least the defensive side of the ball has been the only lasting bright spot on this team to this point.
Yes, I will also say this, though. I thought you could use some more focus on defense to keep it as your strength of your team, and now having them on the offensive side of the ball. I'm guessing it's going to be a true split, and what I mean by that is, at the end of the day, the decisions will go through Greg, but really the offense will be run through Freddie and the defense will be run through Greg.
Right. It's
going to be really separated, and I think at this point that's the best. Again, I just saw this as very toxic. I thought you had to fire Hue Jackson. I didn't necessarily thought you had to get rid of Todd Haley, but I understand it. But I thought it was very bad after the Buccaneers game. I just thought it was a smelling of it, and then finally, what happened Sunday was just the exclamation point that everybody needed. And again, Pittsburgh has become a graveyard for coaches and for Cleveland. That's just amazing how that game has fired so many coaches in the Browns in the new era of this team. That said, I thought that was a proper move. This team was in such turmoil. Firing Hue Jackson and firing Todd Haley doesn't cause any more turmoil to me. It takes a lot more reorganization, but it was so bad. It was so bad.
Well, we see what it's doing to the young talent.
Well, agreed. You had to make a change. That game on Sunday was so. Again, I thought the Buccaneer game was alarming. It kind of got masked because the game went in overtime and the Browns had a chance to win. But it was hammered home against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
After the missed field goal by Greg Joseph, game 7.
Which, by the way, out of all of this, I'm wondering which one. Is there any way Greg Williams doesn't cut him before Sunday? I just don't.
I would hope so. I mean, Mike Joseph's probably a good guy, but he stinks.
Yes.
I mean, he stinks. I mean, that extra, the missed field goal is one thing. The extra point was an abomination. It was so bad. Again, this isn't a guy like Crosby who's got some clout with the Packers who can say, hey, it's just one bad game and you shrug on. I mean, Joseph doesn't have that clout. So I would be surprised if they brought him back. But, knowing how the season's going, who knows anymore?
Well, and that's what I'm worried about. We're going to go into this game a little bit, but some of the weaknesses and the lack of depth on this team are what stood out in this game and really make me fear the rest of the next 8 games for Baker Mayfield. That is my biggest concern. National take. Someone had a really awful national take in regard to all of this. Did you see the tweet? Because I didn't.
Yeah, Mike Greenberg basically said, let me get the I want to do this tweet properly because I don't want to misquote it.
Sorry, I hope I didn't just throw that on you. But when I heard it as I was coming off.
Hey, we've been dealing with all sorts of stuff today. This is just one more. That's why the intranet's wonderful. Here's what he said. Baker Mayfield's agent should demand a trade. That kid has some magic, and they're going to ruin him. For the good of the sport, the Browns should not let him go. I actually, at one point in my career, worked with Mike Greenberg for a little bit.
Right.
So I actually know Mike not well, but I know him and talk to them. He's wrong. That is a stupid blanking comment. That you could be said about the Jets, could be said about many organizations over the past. That is bleeping stupid, and that's bleeping stuff that just.
It's such a reactionary take that ignores all the nuance that goes right back to the things that we do have going for us. And let's not forget, we knew that this was kind of how this season was going to go.
Well, not just that. I mean, he's ignoring the obvious. It wasn't working out.
Right.
Between Hue and the team and everything else.
It was putting Baker at more risk. We saw it on Sunday.
Well, right. And again, the Browns are really – this is why going 1-31 was so damn – because even when you see progress, it really masks the overall product. The Jets win and the Ravens win. They were great, but it didn't show the full picture. We now have a full – I felt after Pittsburgh, it's the first time this year, not in a good way, I'm like, I actually know where the Browns are at. I finally do. It's finally come to full circle where we have made some progress.
Yep.
But you have a long road to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That long road might get shortened a lot by next year, but this year you're looking at 8 games, and it's probably going to be a lot of valleys, not hills. I think you're looking at a lot of valleys, and I'm also for the grand scope of this thing, so now Greg Williams takes over, and I'm hoping he starts making some changes of even things like, maybe Peppers shouldn't be returning kicks anymore.
Well, Hilliard did all right back there, right?
Yeah, and Mike Joseph, really maybe you should be doing other things other than kicking field goals for the Cleveland Browns. We need to get you a new spot. You need to figure something else out. It's not going to be with us. Hopefully, too, he's going to see things where Baker needs to develop as a quarterback. I'm labeling them on new things. I should hit the key point here. Baker Mayfield's everything. And he's got to be able to develop him and make him feel like a better quarterback because the last 2 games, Baker has not played well. No one likes saying that because it's a rookie quarterback, but I'll say it. Baker Mayfield did not play well against the Steelers at all.
Right.
He made 2 throws that were the Joe Hayden interception was underthrown, and there was another ball that was very poorly underthrown during the game.
Well, and he also had issues when it started raining late, too.
That's correct. You're starting to see some of the wear of a quarterback going through a rookie season. And that's fair. It doesn't mean he's going to stink. It just means he's not playing. Like, again, people hate saying it.
No, I mean, you can look at his numbers. 22 for 36 for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Those numbers don't make you hate him, you know? But
he played poorly. I mean,
exactly.
he really – I really thought the Buccaneers game's one thing. I thought he had some moments. Forget the last drive. Baker stunk on Sunday. He stunk. And he wasn't getting any help from his left. That's the other thing now. We've harped on the weapons on this team, so let's hit that second. But, boy, left tackle. Desmond Harrison.
They're not going to back off him.
And I'll tell you the truth.
Because he's a rookie. Because they like him.
Jared, do you think he's good at all?
No. What does he do?
No, he's terrible. He's terrible. Terrible.
I've been saying it all. I thought I was taking crazy pills when I heard people talking about him. I think even Jim Donovan was talking about him looking good after week 3, week 4, whatever it was. And I thought to myself, I don't know what football, and these are football people. I don't know what football they're watching.
He's terrible. I don't need to see any more Desmond Harrison. Goodbye. See us?
And hey, how about this?
Thank you.
We've talked about this as well. Jarvis Landry. Not, what would look at, all you need is Antonio Brown. You're down 6, you're playing like garbage, and in 20 seconds that changes.
Yeah, well,
Boom.
The Browns need playmakers. Duke Johnson got hurt earlier in the game. I thought that kind of set a weird tone in this game.
Yeah.
Again, Carlos Hyde's not the issue. The issue is you keep stripping away the Carlos Hydes and all these veterans, and this is what you kind of get on the field. Callaway is so above this NFL game right now is way above his head. I'm actually ready to say I don't think he's Desmond Harrison, but he's in rookie fog. He's just not going to be able to make plays I just don't think Callaway is going to be able to make or do much.
I'm gonna wait until next year to make a decision on Callaway.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying I don't want to see Desmond Harrison again. I want to see Callaway next year.
I'm worried more, too, about Landry with his high highs and low lows. I don't want him getting manic with his attitude in regard to the situation he's in right now. I'm hoping he can continue to be a leading voice in that, on that offense going forward.
Yeah. Yes, I thought Landry played a good game. I thought there's nothing Landry could have done.
Well, there's nothing he could have done, no. But
nothing.
But this wears on him in a different way. This wears on him where he loses patience and he's not good at hiding that.
No, I know. Look, the only guy, again, Callaway, you and I are on the same page. I want to see him come back next year. I don't know if I want to see Desmond Harrison come back. I think I'm good. I think I've seen enough of this. He's not that good. I think we're ready to move on from Desmond Harrison. I just don't see it. I have not seen yet anything where it's like I can see progression or I can see him playing better. And I thought yesterday – he was hiding in games. I thought yesterday it was so blatant how bad he was. To your point, maybe he was misleading people because of other things that were going on during the game. It was such an eyesore how badly he played on Sunday. He stood out on every play. Every play his back was turned. Every play. It was so evident. He really struggled. He really struggled in the Bucs game. Frankly, he struggled in the Ravens game too, and I just don't think this is getting better.
Well, that was on him. I'm just making sure I'm not wrong. That was him in the end zone with the hold, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And by the way, he appropriately did the right thing because Baker.
He had to protect. Yeah, he would have been blindsided.
He would have been blindsided. So that's not the point there. He did the right thing. I mean, he was beaten. He goes, "Well, I'm not going to get my quarterback killed, so I'm just going to take the penalty in my own hands here." Again, and those are the things that now, if you want to switch places now. What is interesting that I kind of teed up last week, now, for the first time, the focus goes on the John Dorsey. We will find out if that's something that's a good thing or is it a bad thing. I think so far it's been okay to good with him. Mm-hmm. He's obviously brought in some good things to this team. Some great things to this team. He's also come short on some things. I think he's also done some things that have hurt 2018. And he now will get a reprieve because Hue Jackson's gone. He deserves one. He was forced into this marriage. So everything's a clean slate. And again, John Dorsey, I think, is the right guy in position here.
I think
I believe that.
I think it's getting rid of Carlos Hyde was kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face. You know,
I agree.
We're going to make Nick Chubb run this, and the only way that I can get you guys to do that is to get rid of him.
I also thought, to be truthful with you, that he was kind of signaling, I'm ready to get rid of Hue Jackson. I really truthfully believe that. I do.
Well, that move could have also been that he's ready to get rid of Todd Haley, too, because Todd Haley was the one who was refusing to do those things. And all of that to spite Hue.
That's right. And again, for all the Todd Haley fan club out there, and I do like Todd. Hue Jackson's a good man, but he's a terrible coach. Todd Haley did not do enough to keep his relationship stable with the head coach. And yes, it's impossible with Hue Jackson, but Todd mismanaged that horribly too. And by the way, his offensive coordination skills were not that good on the field.
No, because we can also say this: out of eight different receivers yesterday that are listed, one of them, Brashard Perryman, of course, didn't get any receptions, and also, surprisingly enough, after seven weeks of at least doing something, David Njoku, where was he?
But that's him. He's average.
Was he hurt?
No, he's average.
There was nothing.
He's average.
Did a ball go his way on Sunday?
Jared, he's an average tight end. That's what average tight ends do. Sometimes they play, sometimes they don't.
There were sets where the Browns ran 3 tight ends on the field, and still nothing.
David's an average player. I don't think he's cuttable, but he's average. I mean, come on. He's not going to win you a big game. Not going to win you a big game. The Browns don't have enough playmakers.
Yep.
At running back, at wide receiver, and at tight end. I would have felt differently about running back if you had Carlos Hyde still, but you're now running back short to me as well. And I think you need another running back. That's why I don't understand that move at all. So I think you're running back short. You don't need a starter, but you need some depth in there. So I think as season goes on, I think Chubb's going to get some tired legs.
Yeah. I mean, he had under 20 carries on Sunday, but that's going to.
I mean, he's going to be seeing a lot of playing time.
Yes.
I want to see if he makes it throughout the whole year. So I think they're running back short. They're probably 2 wide receivers short. And truthfully, I think you can draft 3 tight ends, and I wouldn't complain. Because all those tight ends for the Browns.
How are you going to do that when you got to start loading up that offensive line to protect Baker, too?
So we got all these sticky oils again. Right. I mean, that's right. And that was my point I was going to allude to. But you have a left tackle problem. Honestly, it wouldn't be crazy to draft another kicker because the kicker we have is no good. You really could use some sort of player on defense again that you're probably a cornerback and a safety short. Because of the Terrence Mitchell injury, maybe if he comes back, you feel better about things.
Right.
But again, all this concludes to is the Browns still have some holes. Because that's my point about alluding to the tight ends. Well, of course, but you also need a left tackle. But all these tight ends, deceptive valves, I've seen enough. We're good. See you later. I'm good. Are you good? I'm good with the tight ends. David and Njoku can stay.
I'm indifferent. Great. I'm indifferent at the end of the day.
Do you really want to see deceptive valve go out for another pass? I mean, come on.
I don't need to.
Right? I don't know.
I don't need to. No, yeah, but you know what? I think we're getting to the point where we can do 2 running backs in the backfield, maybe do some blocking. We need more guys on that line, and if you've got to.
You're getting to my point. We got to start. Look, if Desmond Harris is leaking oil, let's give him a friend.
Yes.
I mean, let's put another blocking. Let's go back to the 80s and early 90s where you used to have 6 offensive linemen. Do you know why they had 6 offensive linemen? Because if you don't, your quarterback gets killed. The Browns don't have the offensive line. They can't go 5.
Nope.
Get a 6 in there.
No, they can't.
Whether it's Austin Corbett, whether you want to go to tight end, I don't care.
Well, that's the other problem is which one of those guys can actually block too.
Hey, you know what? You're going to have to figure that out. And again, I don't think it's Nick Chubb. No. And again, he can't do that because he's carrying too much of a load.
Exactly.
Again, they're running back. That trade, people can explain that to them. I'm blue in the face. I will never understand that trade. All right, that's neither here nor there. So again, it goes back to my point. So okay, you need someone to play on the left side to help out Mr. Harrison, because he stinks. Now you need to get some more weapons to help out to get things down the field, and you're probably going to need another running back at some point. So with all that said, the Browns have won 2 games. You get blown out again against Pittsburgh. Let's go to the game. I guess we haven't done that enough. Outside of the first quarter where the Steelers basically took a snooze fest, the Browns really got blown off the ball on both sides of the line. Really, Roethlisberger, I agree with Tony Grossi. I kind of felt the same way. It's almost like the beginning of the second quarter. He goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to turn on the light switch, and we're going to start firing passes. And then Connor really tore up the Browns again. Another running back just having a field day against defensive line.
Embarrassing with the holes and bouncing off tackles like crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you start losing faith in your team.
And that's where the quit came in. It was that last possession where you just saw it.
Oh, everybody quit. The tackling was terrible. For how much this defense has improved, the running game on defense is terrible. The passing game has gone leaps and bounds, and it's aggressive defense. Those two things have really improved. So you're getting more turnovers, and the passing defense has really improved. It's shocking how much it's jumped. But boy, the run defense stinks. It's really been there every week. It's been there, and for how much Myles Garrett is athletic. How many goddamn times do you have to see Myles Garrett run up the field and then there goes running back running right past him? How many times? How many times do you have to see that?
I honestly thought they would have started trying to address that last week. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, how many times do you have to have a running back go right past you to make an adjustment? I mean, at certain points.
Is Greg Williams just telling him it's quarterback or bust? Is that what it is? I agree.
But again, here's the thing. Great players make adjustments too. I want to see Myles Garrett. That's why I keep saying I think Myles Garrett is a good to very good player. I don't see great. And that's what you want to see after your number one overall pick in the draft.
But I don't think that he's losing the confidence that other guys are. And I think that he's turning this into a net positive for his own for himself. If you listen to him talk after the games, he's not afraid to speak his mind, not in a way where he's being a complete jerk or he's acting like a complete fool, but he's articulating some of the issues that he sees, and he's just saying, look, it is what it is, basically. And for that, I like the kid. I think he's going to be a good leader on this team. No. I know you do. I know that. I know. You question whether he can be elite. I think that I just think, how can we complain? He's got 8 sacks on the season already.
Oh no, he's playing good.
You know, he's one of the few bright spots that it makes it difficult for me to say, you know.
I'm just tired of him. He's having a hard time playing against the run. I don't think you can say he's doing a good job.
But is that scheme? Because it is. That doesn't, to me, feel like it's on him.
I know, but Jared, at certain points, he's got to start making plays on the running game.
They do take the run. They go to that left side every time.
Every time.
They do. I mean, I have to admit that. The ball's going to the left side every time because he over-pursues.
He's just got to start making adjustments to that. We're in game 8 now.
I felt like our offense was actually going to take advantage of some of the over-pursuing with Nick Chubb. Early, when he was getting those 10-yard runs, that ended rather quickly, though. Oh, it's frustrating.
It's really frustrating. And again, you're right. I shouldn't be picking on Garrett so much because there's so much but I'm just tired of that play where there goes Garrett, there goes the running back. There goes Garrett, there goes the running back. And it happens multiple times in all these games. It isn't like this is the only game it happens.
Well, yeah. I mean, there goes Garrett, there goes the running back. Where's the linebacker? Where's the linebackers at?
I know, and you're really missing Schobert right now. That's
Big
also
time.
showing.
Big time.
But again, it was leaking oil even when Schobert was there. So I don't want to say it's all on Schobert being gone. Look, the Browns have made improvement. They're a better team. You definitely see some things. I think the quarterback. I think he's in place. I think you got to give him more time to see if he is the guy. I think he will be the guy. But right now, like I said, I've seen some struggles. That's because of everything that's going around it. I like the idea of getting rid of Hue Jackson. I understand Todd Haley. I didn't think you have to do that, but I understand it. And, going into this game, some other thing, we talked about the weapons in this game. I touched on Myles Garrett enough, and you're right. He's one of the better players of the team, so I shouldn't pick on that too much. We talked about Connors. And I guess the other thing, too, that is going to have to be something to talk about going forward, these gaps of offense where the Browns go 3 and out, and then they go on a drive, and then 3 and out. The Browns have to get more consistent play on offense. They can't keep going 3 and outs with just nothing. Like in the second half at one point, after that bizarre play off the safety where the Steelers just forgot to catch the ball, the Browns, even with that touchdown, and yes, they had penalty yards, whatever, but still, they only had 7 yards going into one of those last drives in the fourth quarter. 7 yards.
Well, Andy, and you saw, and this is the first game where you saw, again, it rolls back to the offense, 3 and outs, is the defense said enough. You've got a team that's got a +8 turnover differential. +8, that's playoff caliber.
I know. Well,
Playoff
they're not
caliber.
Well, when you, again,
Super Bowl caliber. Leading the league.
they have to start making, that's how bad their run defense is. I'm just going to say it. That's how bad the run defense is. If their run defense was average, you probably win a few more games. But they're not.
I'd say if their offense was good enough to score on at least half of those turnovers, they'd win a few more games.
And by the way, that's
what my problem is. That's why they give up.
Very fair, too.
That's what gave Connors all those yards on that last drive and bouncing off all
I'm
those
not
tackles.
disagreeing.
That's it.
Okay, let's flip the bill. The offense has to start doing more. Has to. I mean, what I'm seeing now, though, the biggest glaring problem outside of playmakers is they have to protect the left side of the line. I know that everybody keeps talking about both tackles and the right tackle is not playing well either.
No,
but Desmond
critical.
Harrison's
Why
on
is
those.
he on the left side?
He cannot.
Baker's going to get killed from a blind side. It's going to happen.
Again, unlike Callaway, where I agree with you, Callaway needs to come back and do more next year. But I've kind of written him off this year. I just don't think he's going to do much more.
No.
That's okay. He's a rookie. Let's give it some time. I think he's been through hell and back right now. But Desmond Harrison, to me, I don't think I need to see coming back. I'm pretty good.
No, because it was an experiment to begin with, wasn't it?
Again, I'm pretty good. He's not NFL material. Sorry. Nice kid, probably, but no. Good news, the Chiefs coming to town. They've only lost one game.
Well, I was going to say good news at least because their defense isn't as good. I'm looking at it as a survival. At this point, but yeah, the Browns are going to get smoked.
There is a red storm coming. Dude.
They're going to get. I know.
I know. I will say, I like the chances without Hue Jackson in charge.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Well, he was a dark cloud over the team. He just was. And whether it was him and Todd Haley, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, let me just say this, too. For anybody who goes, you can't fire a coach in midseason, BS. Watch that game in the second half and just watch. And by the way, the penalties again in this game. Lord have mercy. I mean, how many times
we got the two leading teams of penalties in the NFL going against each other. So
I mean, you literally hold your breath after play now. It's like, any penalties?
Well, hey, and you know what? We could still look at the refs, too. The refs had their issues again, too. Bad spots on the ball, not understanding the free kick, blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to go through this spiel again. Yes, but that's what happens with losing teams throughout any sport. When you lose this much, it's easier to call plays against you.
Oh, now this isn't a complaint in that regard. This is on both sides of the ball. This is something that I'm just seeing is becoming a real issue. You know, the same guy that replaced the guy that was fired is over there picking up flags and doesn't know what he's doing either.
No, I agree, buddy. It's terrible. But look, refs are not. That's for.
No, of course not. But I couldn't ignore it.
No, I hear you. Well, it's like an itch. You have to scratch it. And I feel
That's exactly what it is. If we're talking about this game, I got to talk about that aspect. I am not Mr. Blame. I know. I'm not Mr. Blame the ref guy. You know I'm not. I don't do that. I don't do that because I was actually sick of it from seeing it the entire week. I was so tired of people blaming the refs for the losses. I didn't want to even – I don't want to address that stuff, but I had to address that they still looked goofy at times with some of the stuff they were doing.
No, Terry, I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to hit the worried button. Now we're panicked, right?
All right.
We can now
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it is full go. We all knew the hurricane was coming. The hurricane has now landed. It's safely in Berea now. Hopefully the storm passes here, but –
I don't know. It might end up over the queue again pretty soon, too.
Well, we're gonna go there next. But before we turn the page,
that's a low front that isn't going anywhere.
Onto our goodbye to Hue and Lue Monday here, but to finish it up, Hue Jackson had one of the someone compiled totals, 219 coaches. So I'll have to look on Twitter again.
Yeah,
his winning percentage is now 218th.
Yes,
it did not work out well here clearly, this move had to come. It is interesting that Todd Haley got brought into it. I think it's understandable why it happened. But now, looking forward, because we just gave all the gasoline. And again, the problems we need a left tackle. We don't have enough weapons. Your quarterback needs to have a better surface around him to improve. Defensive running game needs to improve. You have some good things on defense, but you could play better in the running game.
Right.
Okay. We got all that said. Now, for the first time starting on Monday the 29th, John Dorsey is now his head's on the sling. It'll be interesting to see how good it does going forward. There's no more Hue. The scapegoat.
But what are you actually going to be able to grade at this point until he brings in his own guys?
That's my point.
Like we're gonna sit here this year for me right now is keep Baker alive 8 games.
Oh no!
I don't care if they sit him.
But by the way, Jared, I agree with you. But the clock starts for him now.
Right.
Because there's no more Hue distractions. Certainly, Greg Williams is not going to stand in the way of anything. And by the way, Hue Jackson wasn't either. But there's no more influence in Berea. This is the John Dorsey show starting today. It is his show. No more distractions. No more mulligans.
Let's see what you got, buddy boy.
You put my words out of my mouth. Let's see what you got, buddy boy. So that was a wonderful display, again, of how things can go horribly wrong in a Steeler game on the road. That game is frightening, and I hate the Steelers. Again, I'm sure Pittsburgh's got nice people. I have several friends who are good Steelers friends.
Absolutely.
I hate Pittsburgh. I hate losing to the Steelers. And that game, you can't ignore it now. It has a death mark to this organization for coaches. It's amazing how that happened again. By the way, I think that should count towards my win total and picks. Because I said he would get fired.
You called it. You were one of the first.
I just could feel it.
You said which game it would be.
Steelers.
I couldn't have seen it go on any longer. I actually, this morning, I kept wondering, before I went into class this morning, how the hell, I posted it on Facebook, it's 10:44, and Hue Jackson is still the head coach of this football team.
Yeah,
I just couldn't believe it. And then you texted me at 1 o'clock almost.
Bye, you. Again,
He gone.
We'll do a wrap up show of the Browns. I thought this season all started turning on the Carlos Hyde trade, and now we've had 2 losses. I think that trade has cost 2 losses. Let's see now how things move on moving forward. Because there's not going to be a lot of pressure on this Chiefs game. It'll be an interesting week.
None.
I'll give some positivity. I really don't think this game has any pressure now for the Browns.
I think Browns fans are going to be sloppy drunk in the stands next Sunday, too. It's going to be one of those free-for-all games.
As I say, chatty fans. Chatty. There's going to be some chatty fans in that fan base. But again, if you want a positive, there should be no more pressure. No one expects you to beat the Chiefs. No one. So it's a good week to pull off a big upset. We'll see if Jared and I can predict that upset on Friday. I don't know, but right now, if you're probably asking us, we'd probably go.
I don't know. No, that's the thing. It wasn't like. This was, again, you're coming off of the same thing that happened against the Chargers. It was the Browns disappeared, and you just wonder why. What was it? Why did they disappear?
Yeah, I thought the Chargers game was more of a reflection of the Ravens win.
More of a hangover from the Ravens win.
Right, I thought that Buccaneers game was a must-win for Hue because I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was just teed up perfectly. Again, the Steelers came off a bye. They were rested. You think the Steelers liked tying the Browns? Hell no. And then, what happened on Sunday happened on Sunday.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
It's officially turn the page day and coaching. Let's go to the Cavs. The Cavs also did a turning of the page. I was going to go off on this even before it happened because I watched that miserable game on Saturday night. I had on World Series, I had on Pacers Cavs, I had on Notre Dame and Navy. Let me tell you, I was shocked that Ty Lue got fired. But for people who watched the Indiana Pacers game, that game was so bad. There were literally multiple passes that went into the stands. Let me repeat that. If you didn't watch the game, multiple times passes went into the stands. Didn't just go out of bounds. Went in the stands. people in seats.
Yeah, full disclosure, I didn't see it. I was with family. It was my daughter's birthday. I was busy.
It's okay.
I was busy throwing a birthday party for an 8-year-old, which I'd normally feel bad, but it doesn't sound like I'm missing much.
No. Jared has a life. I do not have one. So me and my boys sat and watched the game, eating popcorn, watching things. Because my son wanted to watch the game, and I did too. So we sat and watched the whole game. And then the other thing, too, that really became apparent at the end of – there's many things. Okay. That was the one thing. The turnovers, everything was so bad in this game. I want to get to the Pacers game first and the reaction when it happened. If the Pacers wanted to in this game, they could have won this game by 20-plus points. The Pacers really did not put their pedal to the metal in this game. There were times it looked like the Cavs were chasing the Pacers. There were so many times where the Pacers would have a breakout and a 2-on-1, and then the Browns and then the Cavs defender would go into the stands chasing the Pacers player, and there would be Oladipo for an open layup, or Austin Coburn was an open layup. Just so many times you would see breakdowns defensively were just no effort at times where it came back to getting back on defense. You saw better effort on the offensive glass, but none on defense. The Cavs, for a team that's younger, they don't hustle well at all. I mean, it's startling at times. And then you really go into these moments where you're like, okay, the Cavs aren't playing well. It's very evident. Rodney Hood stinks. He's got to go.
Right, we've talked about this.
They might have to cut him. They might have to cut him. It's my 9-year-old son yelled at one point, "Don't pass to Rodney Hood." And I knew what he meant. It's like, oh my gosh, you are so bad. You can't be touching the ball. And his numbers don't reflect it on the stat sheet, but Rodney Hood might have to get cut or traded. He cannot stay much longer.
Well, and we've also got to look at this. Cedi Osman, 32 minutes, more minutes than anyone on the floor again. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 10 points.
Jared, you know what's sad? He actually – I was going to make this mention. He didn't play well, but he actually played better. He still stunk, but he stinks. But you got to keep – I know why. Because you put too much into him. You have to keep him right now. But Rodney Hood you can cut. I mean,
can we say that Larry Nance is still is doing really well considering what he's surrounded with right now?
I was going to bring him up. There's 2 players who I'm like, I really like what I'm seeing. Nance Jr. and Sexton. I think those 2 players are fine. I see things in them, but again, on this team for this season, those are 4th and 5th options, maybe.
Right.
I mean, they're not 1, 2, or 3 options. But Larry Nance Jr., he played a good game. Sexton's a rookie, but boy, Sexton, once he – you don't talk about a guy – you would talk about Baker Mayfield. This guy, Sexton, needs help. He needs to start starting games. That is the one thing where if Kobe Altman was really – and I know I heard Gilbert's getting on too. Sexton needs to be playing more minutes. It's evident when you watch him play. Rodney Hood, I think we're good.
I don't understand how Rodney Hood gets 29 minutes and Colin Sexton's getting 23. Good. I mean, because what's the purpose of this? Why do we have? Who's developing Colin Sexton? What are they looking to do with the young kid? And this isn't football. He's not going to get too beat up. You don't have to protect him at this point.
Well, that's my point. I mean, it's like
let him loose.
I mean, again, when my 9-year-old can point it out, and he was right. I mean, Rodney Hood twice dribbled the ball and kicked the ball in the stands. I'm not even exaggerating. He's kicking the ball in the stands. I mean, the Cavs are so bad, but what I think really got, and they're not going to say this, but I thought the moment that I noticed, I watched the whole thing. I wanted to watch this game. So as I had not watched the previous 2, so I wanted to study this game. At the end of the game, when the game was not in doubt, the game was really never in doubt. You never really felt the Cavs were going to win.
Right.
But at the end, when the Pacers were up by 11 or 12, whatever it was, and you see players in the Cavs smiling, and you can tell that, Korver and JR are telling jokes, and, you can tell there's not much like, oh, we're losing, but whatever, man, it's good. There is no sense of urgency on this team at all. And for everything Ty-Lue did, and you don't want to pin it on one moment, I thought that moment said a lot. Because I was going to explode saying, how in the hell could you be smiling at the end of that kind of game? And obviously someone else was noticing it too.
Let me ask you this question. If the Cavs if the Cavs can't pull out a win tonight?
The fail-safe game.
Right? If the Cavs can't beat... tomorrow night. If the Cavs can't beat the Hawks tomorrow night at home, do they get a win before Kevin Love gets back?
Probably not. We said this. It's a fail-safe game.
I mean, think about that there.
It's a fail-safe game.
If they don't win tomorrow, can they get a win before Kevin comes back from his injury? Boy, that's a good one too. Max contract, 4-year deal, right? Was it Max? Was it? Yeah. Locking up all that cash. No one's, even if you do, because I know that you've thought about this too. Start getting rid of people. You're not getting rid of Kevin. Nobody's taking that.
No, I like Kevin Love. I do.
Right.
It's the one guy and I'm not going to defend him to the point of where I will go to death. I do like Kevin Love on this team, and I like him being a part of this. We need him on the floor right now. Now, let me give you some other possibilities when they can win. They can win at Orlando. They can win at Chicago. Charlotte at home. That's probably it.
Without Kevin, though.
3 days. I think they can win at Chicago. Chicago's bad.
Well, we've also got the issues with Cavs don't necessarily have an interim coach right now.
Well, Larry Drew's going to be their guy.
But Larry's still denying that, isn't he?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. For how much we teased the Browns, for the first time, let's go backwards and go forward. I do like how the Browns finally have a direction on this team. I feel like John Dorsey's the guy and everything's going to run through Dorsey. Do you feel the same way as I do? I think everything's going to go through the doors. Right?
It has to.
Right, okay. The Cavs, on the other hand, I have no idea what's going on from day to day right now. Meaning, I think Larry Drew wants to be the coach, but he's not really saying. I think Larry Drew's kind of saying, I don't know if I want to coach
this is, I mean, granted, New York Post, but this is 8 minutes ago. Why Cavaliers' new head coach won't accept the job?
Well, because it's a mess. This is a mess. I was going to tell you today, even before the Lue firing on Sunday, this is a mess. The Cavs actually, they did the right thing. I like what they did before the season. Keep on to some players and try to win. It didn't work. You only need 6 games. This is not working at all. Right. Time to trade and fire sale now. Fire sale. Everybody. I mean, Sexton, Larry Nance Jr. can stay. They have to stay. Everybody else can go. It has to. You tried. Hey, they tried. I give them credit. But now you know where this is at. You're looking at 8 to 10 wins.
Oh, yeah. Oh, somebody brought up 20. I don't see how they can even come close. I don't see how. They don't have NBA basketball players on that team.
The Pacers game was so eye-opening watching that game. They were really bad.
Ooh, we didn't know it was going to be this bad. We knew it was bad. Remember the days of remember not but a week or two ago, we were talking about the possibilities of an 8 seed. Yee.
18th seed. I mean, you're talking top lottery ball things. Woo. This is so bad. Ty-Lue. I thought it was a harsh move. I'll go back to it. The Pacers at the end of the game, I saw the same thing I think some other people saw. You saw a team that didn't really care, didn't really give a blank that they were losing that game. I saw it too. I saw players who really didn't get emotional that they were down by 11 or 12. And frankly, could have been more if the Pacers were trying harder. It's bad. Jared's bad. This is really bad.
Well, do you fault them for being that way?
I do. Your professionals are getting paid.
Gotcha.
In college, I get it.
I just don't know what in a league where you've got the Warriors picking up Cousins in the offseason. Like I don't know how in that world you can, if you're the Cavaliers, you're supposed to feel any different. You're talking about a team. I mean, it's residual with LeBron walking away. LeBron walked away, and now what? Now you've got the owner. He fired the coach. Now, and we all know what that owner. Listen, his heart's in the right place, but boy, he is not the best owner in the NBA
snappy.
By any means.
He's snappy. I think
I don't see this getting fixed.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. I actually know why I understand why Gilbert did it. So if I were to sell, I would not have fired Ty Lue. I would have told him, though. What I was going to come into today, if they had not fired Lue, was, hey, Lue, you're on notice now. That BS at the end of the game, that crap's not going to last long. Laughing and giggling during a loss,
right.
That's BS. That stuff doesn't cut it here. So either clean it up or ship out.
But did they have long-term goals or expectations? Is Ty Lue checked out too?
Well, I think they were feeling that. I got the vibe from what I've been reading. What a surprise that Ty Lue and Altman were on the same page. You got the feeling, too, that's more of a Gilbert thing as well, too. So, okay. So those things were on opposite sides. You know, when you, again, watching that end of the Pacer game, it was hard not to take a deeper look and say, how much longer is this going to keep going? Because this is a team that might only win 8 games, maybe 9. Jared, the passes in the crowd were multiple in this game. There were 2 or 3 times where it's like, that ball went to the third row. Wow. Again, it's bad. This is so bad. And what's alarming, it's one thing to have a Rodney Hood problem. It's another thing to see Chetty Osman play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that young man is getting more minutes than anyone on that team all 6 games.
Again, I talked to someone who used to play in the NBA, and he kind of echoed what I said. It's amazing how many minutes he's getting right now. I just don't know how much longer the Chetty Osman experience can happen. I guess they're going to ride it out. I think if they do, you're going to see more losses like you saw on Saturday. Okay. I wanted to go to some do you want to go to some positives?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one last thing. You're talking about an NBA player. I want to jump back to one last thing that at least it was the last thing that brightened my day in regard to the Browns, and it was there is a current player on the team that told a reporter that Tony Rizzo style, no names please, that Hue Jackson is the Michael Scott of football coaches in the NFL, and that is enough that is bad leadership in its purest form. It's when you distill it down to the lead character in The Office. that's how Hue is as a real person. Yikes!
No, I agree. I think it's very fair. 2 or 3 more things on the cat. By the way, I think that's very fair. It was Michael Scott. It really was for me. It was bad. It was so bad. And
like on another planet.
Really on another planet. And sadly, how much we love Jim on that show, you can't have a Jim in real life, and Jim was Todd Haley. And how that works in a sitcom, it does not work in real life. You can't have an antagonist on a team. And he was antagonizing.
Yep.
Hue Jackson. And that's why they got rid of him. Some other points about the Cavs, nuts and bolts. I mentioned it, Nance and Sexton. You mentioned it too. I think they're both going to be good. I think, but again, they just don't have a top 3 player right now on this team. And Love coming back makes it a third, so you're just missing the 1 and 2. What I mean by that is you can win some games if you have a 3, 4, and a 5. It's not going to be a lot, but you can win some games. But if just a 4 and a 5, oh my gosh, it's just glaring. They have no offensive rhythm on this team, none. The reason why the Cavs play fast, I've discovered, is because they don't have any other choice. Because they go into half court to throw the ball in the stands. So that's what I see off that. I will say the rebounding on the offensive glass was better. Defensive glass was another story. Their positioning is terrible. I just can't get over on this team the times where you watch them play and they're just not moving on offense. Their defensive sets outside of Sexton and really Nance is just horrible. And then a half court especially, and their defensive rebounding is atrocious. God, I mean, you got to do one of those things. You either got to have good defensive stance or you got to be able to defensive rim the ball. They don't do either. And they certainly don't get back on defense.
God
so,
bless.
I mean,
well, good thing I'm paying League Pass by the month.
Yeah, me too. I bought it.
Well, I'm just saying I didn't buy the full season at once. I can shut her down.
Yeah,
month to month.
Yeah,
if I want to.
The other thing that I kind of alluded to, and I was being joking, but I'm being serious. I do think now I liked how they did this at the beginning of the year. I'm not going to jump off that bandwagon. That was the right decision to make. You had to make change. I thought you had to keep the same player to try to win. 6 games in, though, I've seen enough. I have. You don't need any more time. Sometimes you do. You don't in this case.
Yeah.
The fire sale should be on. Full go. It's time. Tristan Thompson's
is Kobe ready to do all this?
I think it's going to have to be because that's why I was going to get to I think for the Browns, we kind of answered our own questions here. And you and I are going to do a fun game, which I'm going to create during the week called the Browns grading report. It's time for midterms. And we will grade the Browns, which will be so much fun next Friday.
Let's do it.
I'm excited. But we'll save that for then. But I do want to do a quick Cavs 4. Do you agree with me? I kind of teed up, so I'll now ask you. Should the Cavs push the panic button and start the fire sale?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. As long as you keep those, the only 3 guys I care about, the same 3 as you, Kevin, Colin, and Larry. That's it. Those 3. I don't care about anybody else. I
agree. I think it's time to go by. Time to goodbye for everybody else too. I kind of answered it this way, so I'll tee it up again and I'll let you answer second. I thought the Lue firing was quick. I did not think it was fair, but I thought it was understandable. I still don't think you should have fired him that quickly, though. I think you should have given him notice, meaning, hey, that cannot happen. But Gilbert is definitely in the Steinbrenner mold. So, and he's entertaining for that reason. It's not good entertainment times. It's very quick. That was George Steinbrenner-esque what happened to T-Lue. Goodbye. Thank you for everything. Goodbye.
Yeah, there wasn't. Was there a bit? Was there a? I didn't see a note or a letter of thanking or any of that stuff come out.
Very quick.
Well, I wonder what that means. I wonder if there's bad blood there. I wonder if he left it, on a bad note. I don't know. I
think Altman did thank him for the championships.
I feel like there should have been a little more, not to say pomp and circumstance with someone being fired, but come on.
He did release a statement. He did release a statement saying thank you. I thought he did. He did say thank you for winning a championship.
Okay.
But again, the thing is with something like that too, and again, it goes back to this whole thing where right now the Cavs have so much that they have to. I don't know what. They have so much now in flux.
That's why it's a net neutral for me. It doesn't mean anything. It's not a positive. It's not a negative. Honestly, when I heard it, I was surprised. Wow, they're doing Lue like that, and then that was it. Because what are you gonna say?
So
he's probably relieved.
Again, for people who didn't watch, that Pacers game was eye-opening. Yeah. I thought it was so eye-opening. So now to my second question for part 2 here. Is Colby Altman on the clock?
He's always on the clock because your owner doesn't care about a GM.
Yep. I was going to say,
Griff is your proof.
Yeah, you're next up on the firing squad. And I'll tell you the truth, this Larry Drew.
Again, I don't know that relationship, but.
No, I don't know. Well, again, Gilbert's from that Steinbrennian mindship. I don't think he's going to – he wants to win. I do like that about Gilbert a lot. I must admit, I love that he wants to win, and he does not put up with this.
Right.
I think Colby needs to be very, very careful of his decision-making from here on
Jerry
out.
Jones wants to win too, so I don't know.
No, I know, but Jerry's not like Gilbert.
Well, not the same, but I mean, it's still an owner that's in the conversation.
Yeah, I hear you, but Gilbert really does remind me. I'm not throwing that term around lightly. He really reminds me of George Steinbrenner. He really does. He wants to win, will win at all costs, and will do whatever it takes to win. I do like that in an owner.
Does that old school ownership mentality work in today's NBA?
We'll find out. That's a very fair question. We're going to find out. I think it does when you're winning. But when you're not winning, it doesn't help. But the Cavs were kind of stuck in an island. That's why I understood and again, it's not fair. I didn't think it was the right thing to do. I would have given Lue one more chance, but it is what it is now. When did the Cavs win a game? We kind of alluded to this. I'll ask you first. When did they win a game?
I don't know. I have zero confidence. I have zero confidence that they win one game before Kevin comes back.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh.
You laugh because you'll cry if you don't.
Release stress.
I don't see them. I don't see them getting a win.
I'll make a prediction. It will not be Atlanta, by the way. I think it'll be at Chicago on November 10th. On a Saturday, 8 o'clock. Be there. Tickets right now are only $23 on a Saturday night in Chicago.
Oh, come on now. You'll get them cheaper than that if you wait closer to the game. You know that.
Okay. Right now on Vivid Seats, the lowest ticket for the Hawks game on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. What do you think the price is? The lowest ticket.
Oh,
for
goodness.
a Cavs game. For last year, to be fair, to give it reference, last year for a Cavs game on a Saturday against the Jazz was about $23-24. What is it right now?
Oh, it's got to be a giveaway. Going to be free
$3.
tickets. There you go.
Three.
That's the value. Woo! That's the value of a seat in the queue right now.
$3. Last year, there was about 100 or so tickets for 24. Right now, there's over 2,000 tickets for $3. Over 2,000. Plenty seats remaining. It's going to be interesting to see it go. So I say Chicago. I think at Chicago on Saturday night on November 10th. That's what I think. Okay.
It's not November 21st when the Lakers come to town. No? Not going to be that night? Okay.
Again, I
How
hope
much are those tickets going to go for?
I want the Cavs to prove us wrong. Beat the Hawks on Tuesday night. I really would beat the Hawks on Tuesday night. I really would. But you may not have a coach, so.
But exactly. I don't know. Hey, if they can win without a coach,
what a Houdini ass.
bring back the player coach.
Okay, let's ask this. What happens if Larry Drew says no?
Listen, I really genuinely feel like he is going to say no. I have a feeling that there's got to be. I mean, you see even. Listen though, this is LeBron. You saw his tweet in regard to Ty Lue getting let go. You know where to find me. You and I are going to do something together. Those two have a good relationship, despite the fact that he pushed them out on the outer edge.
I know, but again,
I just think the LeBron factor plays more into who wants to come to Cleveland. You know, he's the one who controls who. Nobody likes that owner. Nobody likes that guy. You know that.
I know.
That's why I don't think the Steinbrenner-ish attitude works in the NBA. Because you got players with a lot more clout.
Here's the thing, though. The Yankees
give guys like him power.
Here's the thing, though. The Yankees went through a period in the 80s where no one wanted to play for New York. And no one wanted to go to
still a destination.
Cleveland can be a destination.
I think so, too. I genuinely do, too. I
really mean that. I mean, look, it goes in waves. It just right now, look, it's burning hot fire bad. It's really bad. I was going to go off on this before Ty Lue. I still went off, I think, but I was going to go off. That Pacer loss on Saturday was eye-opening. It was, wow, and we don't care that we're losing by 12 or 13. Okay. I guess I shouldn't care. Is this, last question, is this rock bottom?
You don't see me shaking my head right now.
Are you shaking your head yes or shaking your head no?
Left and right, brother.
Oh, boy.
How can it be?
Oh, man.
How can it be?
After listening to you now, I'm thinking about it. It probably isn't rock bottom. God, can it get worse, though? This is so bad. This is bad. I'm telling you.
You've got an owner who has alienated himself.
It's bad. Cannot believe
with coaches and players, in my opinion. I might be wrong. I might be over-exaggerating, maybe the effect that money would have. But there's so much money in the NBA. Again, it's a very cash-rich league. Why would anyone want to put up with him if they already have it in their minds that LeBron said this is not the dude you want to work with? Ty Lue says this is not the dude you want to work with.
Again, I will say this in sports.
It goes, I think, than you think.
It goes to momentum, and right now there's no positive momentum for the Cavs. It looks like I can't ignore it. It looks like hell on earth. Things can change in this league. Things can change in any league. But right now it's bad. There's no question about it. Before we get to Friday, we'll see what the Cavs do on. They play again the Hawks on Tuesday. We call that the fail-safe game in this podcast. I think it is. Because I don't think if you win this, it could be a while before you win again. And then the Nuggets come in on Thursday at 7 o'clock. So we had a big show today. We will get to I will do all college football next week.
Yeah.
The Irish, really, there's nothing really to analyze. If you were people out there looking for a breakdown at the cocktail party, I'll say that. I'm sure all of you were. We'll do that on Friday. And we'll get into
that and a review, and a preview. We can lump it all in. Yep.
Yeah, and then we're also going to do the reveal on tomorrow night of the playoffs. We'll see who's in and who's out, but I think it's pretty much a checkerboard scenario, meaning you pretty much know who's going to be in or out. And again, that all changes anyways from week to week. The World Series is over. We'll get into that next week because I am very exhausted by these two teams in Cleveland, whether it's the Browns. Let the Cavs steal more of the exhaustion, but boy, the Browns said, no, we trump you. we trump you again with what happened on Sunday, then today.
Boy,
those two teams, it took a lot of exhaustion out. I will say with the Browns, better times ahead. I think they have finally reached another cleansing level here today. Not sure why it didn't happen last year, but with that said, who cares? Had to be done. Finally happened, so now they can finally start moving forward. Let's see how this week plays out. Greg Williams is the new coach. No more Haley either, and again, they've kind of put our emphasis on that, or my emphasis. I thought the Haley thing was fair, only because I don't think he did enough either to salvage this relationship or make the team better.
No, absolutely. So, I told my wife, I said I probably would have had the same problem. I probably would have done the same things that Todd Haley did to Hue Jackson, because I wouldn't have been able to hold back on him if I really disagreed with him. And Lord knows I would have disagreed with him. So I would have been fired too. I wouldn't have been any different than Todd Haley, which is unfortunate, but as human beings, that's just who we are. Yeah. Hey, let me cheer you up real quick, Andy. We're talking about all this here for Cleveland sports today. What are they talking about on Boston radio right now?
Oh, well, they're probably talking about the Red Sox. They're probably talking about
Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice?
I know, the Celtics are doing really well. How's that Kyrie Irving trade working out? Too soon?
Just let me... Well, at least you got that. Yeah.
That didn't work out. That did not work out at all.
Well, you feel better? I'm glad you were able to grab onto that one.
I mean, let me just... Okay, here's my final points. I'll let you sign us off. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Larry Drew in the next 24 hours. I guess we should keep our eyes on that. Mm-hmm. The trading deadline is also happening tomorrow for the NFL, so the Browns are certainly not out of the news cycle. I would not be surprised if they make – I still don't think they'll make a trade, but it would not surprise me if they did, because they just need any kind of attention to deflect off what happened today.
Well, and
I'm a big believer in that in sports. When you have something like that happen, you do something to deflect the attention away. So I would not be surprised if the Browns make a big move now. I still don't think they will, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. We got into Larry Drew. The Cavs are really bad. I would suggest to keep watching them now, because I think it's going to be interesting to see how this team does go moving forward. No one else has to be punished for that, but I will keep watching the games to keep our eyes on what's going on with that team. And then, like I said, we got all that stuff going on in college football, a great college football weekend coming up. But just to step back, the thing is, I hate losing the Steelers, but something you just can't get away from is how that game at Pittsburgh has now become the death march and funeral for all these coaches since the team has moved back. It's just been amazing, Jared. I can't get over how that game now has had so much history of coaches being fired. It is remarkable. Hopefully better times ahead for everyone.
I think that the Browns need to that Dorsey needs to make some sort of move, not necessarily for any other reason than to make his rookie quarterback's life easier for these next 8 games. It's the only thing I care about. That's it.
I will say that would be a big help. I would hope that he would do that. Will he do that is to be seen.
I don't know.
I'll say this too. The way they are going now, there's a big argument could be made in the building. Let's stand pat and let's get reloaded for next year. And again, that whole trade with Carlos Hyde set the tone. I will never understand that trade until I see the 5th round rookie kicker we get from that trade pick. Or that's too early for a rookie kicker. Maybe 7th round, and I'll say this too. Mike Joseph, love you to want you to leave.
Make that cut, please.
Oh my God.
That would make my Monday so much better.
The field goal was one thing, but that extra point, holy mackerel, would have. Oh my God! You only sit and laugh. That was high school bad. Woo! That was such a.
It almost looked like he kicked it that way on purpose because he saw the pressure from the right side, if you remember. And he reacted to it like he got spooked. That's what I saw. I didn't watch a replay. What was funny was when they used the replay of the field goal is when you're kicking into that side of the field, you get to watch it multiple times because the camera or the screen is up between the goalposts. So he got to watch that multiple times as he missed. Whatever. Whatever. Andy, I'm just.
This was. For people out there who are not Cleveland fans who watch this, you just experienced a Cleveland weekend without one win. With We love our teams.
And we'll do it again.
There are better days ahead for the Browns. I really believe that. The Cavs.
All right.
Ricky Davis type stuff. I mean, we're really looking at. I mean, I'm sorry. I got to do one more thing before you sign us off. I can't get over how bad the Cavs are. That was eye-opening on Saturday. I watched a couple of their games, but watching them again on Saturday, it's like, oh my God, we're really this bad. It is really getting this bad. Francona's still the coach, though. We're good. I like him. I like our manager. Love
Go Tribe. Go Tribe.
Free agency's right around the corner.
Go Tribe. Yep. 2019 draft right around the corner.
I babbled.
Cavs lottery pick right around the corner. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson. Cleveland and beyond. I am beyond a lot of things right now. Take care, and we'll talk to you again soon. Andy, I'll see you, brother.
See you. Everybody be safe out there. Let's not lose our jobs in the next couple days, all right? Let's just stay in the straight path. Go Cleveland.
I think at this point, it is what it is. Take care. Hey, don't forget to follow Andy and Jarid Cleveland and Beyond on Facebook at facebook.com/Cleveland and Beyond, and on Twitter at CLE and Beyond. That's at CLE and Beyond on Twitter. You can also shoot us an email, andyandjarid@gmail.com. Looking forward to hearing your comments.